Hello, Unitarian Universalist Congregation of York. It's time for the Minister's Monthly Message, and it's been a minute since we did this. And it's been a couple of minutes since I showed you my face, because, well, I get bored of looking at my own face and hearing my own voice, and anyway, that's part of why we have summer break and why ministers take study leave. But I'm back. Today is August 27th, so we're pretty close to the end of the month, but there's still time for a monthly message. In the past few weeks, I have returned to work here fully engaged with the relationships and the requirements and the many joys and the stresses of working here with you, for you. 2 weeks ago, I was back in the pulpit for the first time since the first week of July with a question box service. And I could not answer the vast majority of the questions because we just didn't have time. We are publishing a list of all the questions answered and unanswered. If you go on our website, uucy.org, and look at worship and events and go to past services, that's where you can always find old videos of services, texts of the sermon in many instances, and sometimes additional information about the service or additional recordings that are relevant. So there's a plug for you to check out. If you miss a service, maybe you would like to listen in. There's also, sermons are available in a podcast stream. But the question box service is a great Unitarian Universalist tradition about curiosity. And when I looked at all the questions that I hadn't had a chance to answer, especially the ones submitted on slips of paper that I simply couldn't even look at that day, there were a lot that I wish I'd gotten a chance to answer. And some I'm kind of glad I dodged the need to. You can look at that list yourself and choose and decide and use it to spark your own conversations. But I thought I would share an answer this morning and leave you with a thought. So one of the questions that I got was, what's your favorite tattoo? I have plenty of them, as you've probably noticed. And this question really struck me. One, because a colleague who has done more question box services than me, this was my first one, said, you're always going to get a question about your favorite something. Book, podcast, something. I kind of love that my what's your favorite was about my tattoos. And two, the other reason I wanted to answer this one is it's a really curious question, right? Because tattoos feel both extremely personal but extraordinarily public. The ones that are on pieces of my skin where they are easily visible, I have to be open to questions about them. I don't always have time, and I'm not always going to take the time to tell the full story of some of them because, well, they have layers of meaning for me. And yeah, I have one or two I got just for fun. But what I thought about immediately when I read the question was this one. I'm checking my remote. It's not telling me what it looks like. The one on my right forearm is a pretty bold colored, bold line artwork of a sprig of forsythia. I got this tattoo in January when I was in Chicago, in January of 2020, when I was in Chicago for my divinity school. The last time I was in Chicago for school in person before the COVID-19 pandemic shut everything down. And this had started as a conversation between me and two friends and classmates about how we found tattooing to be a spiritual practice and we wanted to get tattooed together. Well, life circumstances, budgetary constraints, and just other things in life got in the way of the other two friends going, but I kept my appointment. It was cold and snowy on Belmont Avenue in Chicago. I went and I had this sprig of forsythia, which is my favorite perpetual sign of hope. Forsythia can bloom multiple times in a spring, and they will bust out as soon as it's warm enough for a good, 3 days? They are there. They are here for it. They feel the sun on their tiny buds, and they are ready to face the world. And of course, we know that sometimes Forsythia then wind up covered in snow 2 days later. But they come back. They come back day after day and year after year, and we forget about them. I forget about them when the yellow blooms are gone. But they are there. They are present, and they are always ready to answer the call of sun and axial tilt and warmth. I love them. They are not maybe the most beautiful flower, but to me, they are a pure symbol of hope. And my right arm, generally speaking, has messages and ideas that are more meant to reach out to the world. I am right-handed. This is my dominant hand, so that's what I reach out with. And to a certain degree, the ones on my left arm are more holding my hand to my heart. They are more self-centered. The person I must need to be to do the work I need to do in the world. So there's a little tidbit about one of my tattoos, and a little bit about what I think about tattooing in general. I hope that this didn't just ease your curiosity if you asked that question, but also that it just reminds you how amazing it is when we get curious about the lives and experiences of other people that we don't know, and when we ask generative questions and really listen to the answers. We're about to start a new congregational year. People just had an OWL teacher meeting. The Progressive Christian group is getting ready to meet. I am under the beech tree. The carriage house is over there. Things are happening. And it's exciting. And it can be overwhelming. So if you're wondering what's the message for the start of the year, be curious. Listen with an open heart and mind. Welcome to the 2023-2024 congregational year, Unitarian Universalist Congregation of York. I'm so glad to be back with you. I'm excited for the year ahead, and I'm ready to get curious right along with you. Thanks.